On today's episodes of perks you really wish people would stop using. Okay. So here we have Unmatched Zeal. Melee finishers of extremist level enemies additionally restore a small amount of health for any squad member. Why? I'm confused. Why don't people like this? I mean, extremists are pretty rare, so I guess this doesn't happen quite often. It says small amount of health also. Wait. What? Oh, sheesh. Yeah, okay, I get it. This perk can be pretty bad, it seems like. I'm interested, though. Let's say if we were to buff it on melee finishers of Majorous level enemies, do you think this perk is still any good? Like, I feel like if it's Majorous, this perk might actually be pretty good. Oh, but it does say melee finisher, so you would need to execute. I don't know, that still seems pretty strong if it says Majorous. Small amount. Maybe if it didn't have a cooldown, that would be kind of OP, but from what we just saw from the heavy, there's nothing like really holding back a heavy from just getting full health whenever they want, so so Unmatched Zeal. Apparently people don't like this perk. Let's get into it. People often exaggerate how wasted a slot is or how useless a perk is, but healing some 0.5% of your HP each time you kill a particularly rare enemy is actually useless and a waste of a perk slot. Okay, that's really low. 0.5% of your HP each time you kill a particularly rare enemy. Yeah, the extremist. 0.5. Okay, so let's say it does. Let's say if we melee finish a Majorous, we get 5% of your health back. Is this perk still bad? It seems to be usable. I don't understand how this made it out of testing. Yeah, that's a good question. I gotta be honest, this perk does not seem play tested at all. It actually kind of sounds, yeah, like a wasted slot. If you take Inner Fire and have a Bulwark on your team, he can give you a 100% heal every 15 seconds. Yeah, that sounds crazy. Yeah, okay, so let's say if we were to fix this perk, Majorous enemies, if you melee execute them, you will get 5% of your HP back. And there's no cooldown. I think that makes the perk a little bit better. But yeah, it's still not even stronger than Inner Fire and Bulwark, but that's still a combo perk strategy there. I don't know, that's interesting. I kind of want to see these bad perks and see if we can fix them a bit. But yeah, let's start on this one. Facts, if it was Majorous, it would be a whole different story, but there aren't enough extremist enemies for this to be useful. Yeah, nah, it doesn't seem like it. But yeah, that's the exact idea I had. Just switch out extremists and put in Majorous. He said it's a whole different story, though. How much better does it get? I mean, it does let you stay in the fight. So, I don't know. I do think it would be a useful perk for sure. This thing should heal each member of the team for like 10% of their health. On lower difficulties, a 10% health for all 3 people would be pretty solid. And on lethal, where you encounter 2 to 3 elites, everyone healing for 20 to 30% for surviving the double zone with a lictor seems reasonable. Okay. I mean, dude, this breakdown actually makes it seem pretty good. Surviving double zone, and then, well, you would have to melee execute them. You can't just, like, you know, bolt sniper them out of the sky. You would have to go up and melee execute them. But that's true. With the double zones, that's 20% XP back. That's actually pretty cool. And, dude, the more we talk about this perk, the more I think it should be in the game. 10% of their health, though? Yeah, he did buff my 5% to 10%. I mean, still, I think that's fine. I mean, maybe we could cap it at, like, if you, let's say you execute like 4 Majorous, maybe you get the health back for like 2 of them. Maybe it should be like every other Majorous you melee execute, you can get like 10% health back. I don't know, that's interesting. But yeah, see, now this guy has it at 10% for still killing elites. So the perk gets better at lethal because there will be more elites. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I still think... Okay, yeah, I think this breakdown's pretty good, but I would still want it for Majorous. And then, yeah, I would go with 5% health back. But yeah, I do like the idea of this also. It would be great if there was a perk overhaul. At the moment, there are some clear best-in-slot perks on all classes, with no reason to pick the others, which makes build crafting boring to non-existent. Okay, I feel like it's less about build crafting and more about what build is best for what weapon, and then build accordingly to that. There's, yeah, like, as far as theory crafting builds, I think, you know, like the inner fire with the bulwark stuff is pretty cool, but I bet you there's maybe like a few combinations that we can definitely try out. But I wouldn't call build crafting boring. It's just, you know, we don't have like that much to craft. Nah, I don't know. See, the thing is, I don't really mind the limited builds for the most part. I think, you know, more like certain classes suffer from this, like more than, let's say, tactical, where tactical has like a whole bunch of weapon options and stuff. But like, yeah, I wouldn't say, like, it's not really boring because whatever you do with your build is, it's not like Elden Ring build crafting where you can just, you know, there's freedom to build whatever you want. In this game, there's definitely a set build that you want for high difficulties, which is fine. I mean, high difficulties have their specialties. You know, there's a lot of mobs, there's a lot of extremists. You are going to have a lot of contested health because there's a lot of damage. So you just want to build accordingly to that. I wouldn't really, you know, I wouldn't really put this game in the category of, oh, I'm playing this game for build crafting. It's not really like that. It's more like you're playing with certain bells and whistles and you want to see what works with the weapon you most enjoy. I feel like it, you know, more gravitates towards that. Definitely find a weapon that you want to play with and then make a build that makes that weapon the strongest weapon in the game. That's that's essentially where build crafting is. So, I don't know. There's a lot of trial and error I think we should get used to, at least when you're starting the game. You need to try out certain perks. Certain perks are going to be worse for the weapon you have. So, I don't know. It's mostly around the fact that you just want to find a weapon and then build towards that weapon. So, yeah, I guess, yeah, if you want to say build crafting in this game is disappointing, then that's fine, but I just don't think the game really was built for that. If it was on Major's enemies and above and healed everyone on the squad per execution, it could be argued for, and heal at least 2 to 3%. Okay, so this guy said Major's enemies and above. So he even buffed my perk the way I remapped that perk, and heal at least 2 to 3%. Yeah, I said 5%, so I don't know. I actually kind of like this. Major's, maybe, okay. Major's and extremist enemies that you execute will heal your team 3%. That actually sounds pretty good. That's not too bad. 3% of health isn't going to get very far, but considering all the contested health support that you can get with your team, I feel like in higher difficulties, this perk definitely has a, you know, definitely has a use. I like support perks in Space Marines too. It's very, very fun. Like, playing Bulwark is very, very fun for that reason. You know what I mean? So, I don't know what other classes could... Oh, I mean, Tactical, I guess. Tactical could probably have 1 or 2 support perks, you know, that definitely makes sense. But, I mean, Recon's already really good, so... I don't know. But, yeah, I like the way we're cooking here. This is honestly, the perk with Majorus and above heals 2 to 3%. That sounds pretty usable, you know, especially at lethal. No, not all perks are created equal in some games, and even the best developed perk systems in games have their meta, but this game has so many useless perks for such a small perk tree that it really feels either slapped on or made by someone who wasn't connected with playtesting. Yeah, I just think it was overlooked. I simply think it was overlooked. I don't think this was like one of those perks where they saw it and they were like, oh, okay, this could work, and then, you know, just never got around to figuring it out, you know what I mean? I can see it being buffed. I can see it being buffed in the way we're talking about it, to be honest. But yeah, obviously it was overlooked. This applies to classes and weapons. Big props for allowing free respec, though. Yeah, see, like, dude, we gotta keep in mind this game is still pretty young. Like, to be completely honest. Like, the fact that we had so many updates already and a lot of balance changes and, you know, the devs telling us what they think they want to do. Like, we got a lot of communication within the first few months of this game. It's very, very nice. And, yeah, we get an update in, like, a couple weeks. So, that's kind of crazy. They could have locked it behind using armorer data or something horrible like that. Imagine giving up free mastery of a block weapon to learn a perk is overshadowed by its later successor in the tree. Yeah, right. So you'll be spending resources on unlocking perks that suck, and then like you just leveled up, you get a better perk. Yeah, nah, the respec is very good. I just think we need to be able to save certain builds, you know? Yeah, because honestly, with tactical, I'm always switching one perk between the heavy bolt rifle and the plasma incinerator. Even though I heard the carbine's really good, so I can try out the carbine for operations. I've been playing a lot of operations recently also since I have a PS5, so what I plan to do is eventually we will be doing just community streams where I'm going to level up some classes. We'll play some PvP. But yeah, I'm definitely, I'm definitely going to try to ramp up closer to when Horde mode comes out, which I'm expecting to be later in the year next year, but I'm going to say around like Elden Ring DLC, like March, April, May, June, like around there. There's literally no reason to ever use this perk. There seems to be some confusion over the wording, but put it simply, it's any squad member, not all squad members. Oh, okay, yeah, so we got to do it for all squad members for sure. Also, it heals about 1% of your health. Considering it's limited to extremists, you will barely get any use out of it, and what little benefit it does gives it negligible. If you have Inner Fire and use Inner Fire, 50% ability charge on every single finisher is nuts. Tactical can spam all specs all day, and Bulwark can heal someone basically every encounter. Not to mention you can grapple way more often, which is great, as half of Vanguard's perks are about grappling. If you don't have Inner Fire yet, the melee damage boost is still infinitely better, as it's active all the time. Yeah, okay. That was a good breakdown. Yeah, so let's buff the perk. Let's say it kills Maedrus. We could even set, like, as long as it kills Maedrus, the amount it heals is also pretty negligible, because there's so many Maedrus, you'll just be stacking up a lot of health. Any squad member? Yeah, let's do all squad members. If we, okay. Maedrus heals all squad members for 3%. And then, I mean, we could do Maedrus and above if you want. I think that's it. Actually, that perk sounds pretty cool, to be honest. They definitely need to buff this perk, because I think it has a pretty high potential to, definitely help out your team. That being said, if it's the perk that replaces Inner Fire, I don't know how much we're going to have to buff it then. But all right, let me know in the comments how you feel about this perk. Also, if you have any hopes in them, buffing or remapping, reworking certain perks, let me know. I strongly believe they definitely can buff this perk to be at least usable.